World Standard Treatment Protocol further exacerbated the global fear of the virus, leading to the adoption of self-help paradigm by various nations. In Nigeria, for instance, the Task Force on COVID-19 and the Ministry of Health have already requested for inputs from individuals and health-based organizations to come up with homegrown solutions, just as many of them had at the incipient of the pandemic claimed to have developed effective drugs for COVID-19 treatment. We heard that some of such claims are currently undergoing verification process by NAFDAC and other authorized agencies for possible validation. Our solutions are in nature, that's according to one alternative medicine practitioner. But what remains unknown is whether or not any of the treatment solutions under verification can provide the answer to the COVID-19 question. We shall deliberate more on this in the course of the program with our guest, Zainab Ujudu Sharif, Head Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Federal Ministry of Health. My name is Kirin Umayo. Thank you for tuning in, and the news is next. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured people and government of Katsina State of renewed efforts and review of operations to improve the security of lives and property in the state and other parts of the country. The president, in a meeting with Governor Aminu Bello Masari at the State House on Thursday night, said bandits who have committed crimes against innocent citizens in the state and across the country will not be spared. President Buhari warned bandits to surrender their weapons or face disgraceful and violent ends. The president said more decisive military operations against bandits in Zamfara, Sokoto, Niger, Katsina and Kaduna states will be undertaken. The president commiserated with the governor over the loss of lives from attacks by bandits, which include the district head of Yantumaki, Alhaji Atiku Maidabino, and APC chairman in Basari local government area, Alhaji Abdulmahid Sani Duburawa. The federal government has presented relief materials to provide succor to the victims of armed banditry in Katsina State. Awal Haliru reports that also delivered were palliatives for distribution to vulnerable persons affected by lockdown to contain the spread of COVID-19 in the state.
4,000 bags each of rice, maize, beans, and over 500 gallons of vegetable oils, among others, be presented to the 8 frontline local government areas of the state. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said efforts are being made to bring to an end armed banditry in the country.
We are aware that most people have lost their livelihoods by the lockdown. Many people rely on daily earning to earn a living, and their livelihoods have been really disrupted.
The palliatives to be distributed to people as a result of lockdown to contain the spread of COVID-19 are more than 63 trucks of maize and millet to cater for over 83 households in the state.
We are looking at ways of ensuring that these things that you brought will reach the needy amongst the people in the 8 local governments.
He, on behalf of the state government, commended the federal government for the gesture. Meanwhile, Senator representing Katsina Central Kabir Barkia also commended the federal government for the intervention, saying that it will go a long way in assisting the beneficiaries. Awal Haliru, NTA News.
The gradual relaxation of many of the lockdown measures as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic across the globe has contributed to a cautious recovery and the return of more stability in the oil market. This was at the 179th meeting of the Conference of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Lydia Sampson reports.
The meeting was held via video conference under the chairmanship of OPEC President Mohamed Arkab, Minister of Energy of Algeria and head of OPEC delegation. The conference took note of oil markets development since it last met in Vienna on the 5th of March 2020 and reviewed the oil market outlook for the remainder of 2020 into 2021. It noted the positive ramifications of the decisions taken by all participating countries in the declaration of cooperation at the 10th extraordinary OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting on the 12th of April 2020 to adjust downwards overall crude oil production by 9.7 million barrels per day for the month of May and June 2020 by 7.7 million barrels per day from 1st July 2020 to 31st July. The 179th conference applauds the additional adjustments from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Oman in June. The conference reaffirmed participating countries' commitment to the existing arrangements from April. The meeting therefore agreed unanimously to extend the first phase of 9.7 million barrels per day production adjustments agreed on the 10th extraordinary and non-OPEC ministerial meeting for a further month from 1st of May 2020 to 31st July 2020. Member countries also reaffirmed their continued focus on fundamentals for a stable and balanced oil market in the interest of producers, consumers, and the global economy. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Power has urged management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria to key into the presidential power initiative towards efficiency in the sector. During an oversight visit, the chairman, House Committee on Power, Magaji Aliu, says the huge investment of the federal government in the sector should be justified by delivering electricity to consumers. The committee noted that considering the critical role of TCN in the electricity value chain, being the sole electricity transporter and link between GENCOs and DISCOs, management should ensure service delivery.
Our doors are open. We are only here to help you, to ensure things are done according to the law and within the law.
The acting managing director of TCN, Sule Ahmad, says all challenges in the sector are being attended to appropriately. Part of TCN's budgetary allocation for 2020 has been released and already deployed for implementation of ongoing projects. It is also collaborating with state government to sort out issues of the right-of-way. In another development, the House Committee on Diaspora Affairs is strengthening existing laws through legislative reforms to guarantee voting rights for Nigerians in diaspora. This was the fallout of oversight on the Nigeria in Diaspora Commission in Abuja. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission provides for the engagement of Nigerians in the policies, projects, and participation in the development of the country. This is why the House Committee on Diaspora Affairs is making amendments into relevant laws that will empower them to vote, as well as increase greater participation of domestic activities by Nigerians abroad. The committee also promised to facilitate office accommodation for the commission and establish platforms for integrating and reconnecting Nigerians in diaspora with their roots.
We have millions and millions of children of the millions and millions of diasporans abroad. And it is very important that Nigeria places a great value on this commission.
The chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabire Erewa, said sectors of health, agriculture, and hospitality industry are some of the future investments the commission is targeting to realize revenues for the country through critical partnership with Nigerian community in diaspora.
You must have been here for a certain number of years. You can't just say, I want to vote, without even knowing who you want to vote for. So those are things, that's why, like I said, it's very delicate and it's going to take a lot of work.
She promised to cooperate with the committee in meeting core mandate of the commission and sustain interaction with Nigerians in diaspora for the overall development of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The disbursement of 50 billion naira targeted credit facility being done by the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, National Micro Finance Bank, on behalf of the Central Bank of Nigeria, is already putting smiles on the faces of households and micro, small and medium businesses affected by COVID-19. Benny Adams reports on the experiences of the first set of beneficiaries, numbering 3,256 nationwide.
The impact of COVID-19 on Moses Oluchukwu and his likes about 3 months ago was so severe that they concluded they were doomed. But the 50 billion naira CBN stimulus package to him and beneficiaries across the country is turning their doom into boom.
It was very, very hard on us. But thank God for that stimulus package.
The package of 1.6 million naira has assisted Oluchukwu to remain in the school business during the lockdown, as he procured more computers and employed an ICT specialist to meet the demands of e-learning. The story of this household beneficiary, whose sports betting and entertainment business came to a halt as a result of the lockdown, is the same as Moses. The CBN stimulus is the magic wand that has kept them alive.
Normally come to play game, they will tell you they cannot make withdrawals. You need to follow them to the bank, or no, but I'm trying to cut off that kind of stress. So anyone that wants to play game can easily use a POS so you don't have your cash at hand.
Adejo, who is into home delivery of cooking gas in Abuja, is more enthused with the fact that beneficiaries need not know anybody to benefit from the scheme, as he is a living testimony.
We have increased in our volume of delivery. We've improved on our marketing again because it's a continuum, and we've employed more staff. So I would say, okay, the loan has gone a long way to boost our business and even to make our business easier.
In a run-up to this disbursement, Oluchukwu and his counterparts are among 80,000 Nigerians who applied, out of which 40 of them are households.
I urge households, micro, small and medium enterprises to take advantage of this palliative by obtaining loans at 5% interest per annum to boost their businesses and grow the economy again. The 50 billion targeted credit facility is real. Take advantage of the palliative to grow your businesses.
The central bank has announced 6 initial policy responses to COVID-19 to the economy, to include extension of moratorium on loans, interest rate reduction on CBN's interventions from 9% to 5%, creation of a 50 billion naira fund, credit support for healthcare sector, regulatory forbearance, and strengthening of loan to deposit rate policy. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
100 days after the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Nigeria, the federal government says it is targeting the establishment of at least one standard molecular laboratory in each state of the Federation and the FCT through national response to COVID-19. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, said this during a visit to the National Reference Laboratory of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control in Gadua, Abuja. Mitari Ben has that report.
The Federal Ministry of Health has confirmed a coronavirus disease case in Lagos, Nigeria.
It's 100 days since the confirmation of the first case of COVID-19 in Nigeria, an Italian who returned to Lagos from Milan. Since then, the NCDC National Reference Laboratory in Gadua, Abuja has been a hub for a chain of laboratory services, including receiving thousands of samples collected for sorting, labeling, and testing for coronavirus. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, moved by the dedication of staff who are frontliners in the fight against the raging pandemic, decided to motivate the team with a visit and words of encouragement. He says no effort has been spared to increase testing capacity in the country.
Bearing in mind that when we started this response, they had about 2-3 labs. By the time I became the chairman of the PTF, they had ramped it to 5. Today we have 30. We are testing in 30 different locations. That's a lot of effort within a period of about 3 months. And we're going to continue to do that so that we can drive the testing processes down closer to the people. If there's anything we're going to bequeath to this nation is that at the end of this pandemic, we should have one standard laboratory in each of the states of the Federation plus the Federal Capital Territory. In addition to that, have an isolation facility with about 30 to 100 beds. If that's all we are able to do, we would have redefined the health infrastructure of our country.
The next line of action to stepping up testing capacity is the conversion of gene expert machines used for tuberculosis to test for coronavirus.
The gene expert machines are already in country. The reagents have come in. The actual rollout date is June 14th. So what it will do is bring the testing closer. And the closer the tests are to where you are, the quicker the turnaround time it will be.
The coronavirus pandemic is far from over, as indicated by the Presidential Task Force. But part of the national response is to maximize the experiences of COVID-19 to boost the health infrastructure in Nigeria and have a better strategy and response mechanism to any future pandemic. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
The federal government has approved the donation of 150 trucks of assorted grains as COVID-19 palliatives for Jigawa State. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Salia Umar Farouk, was in the state for this reason. Muhammad Musa Askira tells us more.
Coronavirus pandemic and its attendant consequence of lockdown of communities, restricting people from going out to seek for their daily bread, among other activities, has left a huge negative impact on residents of the affected areas. As the Minister Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk explains, the approved donation of the assorted food items, which include rice, millet, maize and guinea corn, will soon arrive the state to cushion the suffering of residents in the state caused by the global COVID-19 pandemic.
We are bringing about 150 trucks into the state of these grains for onward distribution to the poor and vulnerable across the state as part of Mr. President's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
And thank him on our behalf. Thank him so greatly. He has supported us so much. His agricultural evolution has yielded a lot of returns.
In Jigawa State, to flag off distribution of fertilizer and farm inputs to victims of flood disaster in the last year's farming season. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has distributed agricultural equipment to farmers in 3 local government areas of Kano State. The Federal Commissioner, Bashir Garba Muhammad, said the gesture is in line with the President's directive to ameliorate the hardship faced by farmers at this critical time. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The farming season is here again, and farmers are set to go to farm, ready to use the little resource at their disposal to embark on the only vocation known to them. This year, farmers' situation made more difficult with the current coronavirus pandemic ravaging the economy of the world. It is for this reason that the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons provided support to farmers in Kura, Madobi and Garumara local government areas of the state would implement for this year's farming season.
This will no doubt boost their production in the current farming season, thereby improving food supply for the people and contribute to the food security drive of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Executive Secretary, State Emergency Management Agency, Saleh Jili, thanked the Commission for the gesture and assured judicious use of the items. We thank God for the gesture. They provided us with modern equipment and it will go a long way in boosting our farming activities. Similar gesture is expected to be extended to other farmers across the country. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Experts have called for concerted efforts at addressing biodiversity loss to mitigate its impact on humanity, good security and health system. Yemi Talebo reports.
Environment is the most important to survive on this planet. Without a balanced environment, life cannot be sustainable. It is to achieve a balanced and sustainable environment that environmental activist Oluwaseyi Ebenezer gathers stakeholders in the sector to fashion out ways of reducing actions, promoting biodiversity loss with a view of saving the Nigerian society from the negative effect of this on humanity, especially on food security and healthcare system.
To state governments and governments of Nigeria to make policies and law using the green lens. We must build a green economy in the post-COVID era to rebuild and restore what has been destroyed in the environment.
Together we should try to rearrange nature. We should rearrange nature, human beings, animals, plants, to collaborate and have a good society.
Your environment determines even the kind of dance you do. Your environment determines what you do on a daily basis with your body. So, and this is all we call culture.
The activists suggest building a green economy in the post-COVID-19 era to restore the environmental laws while urging the government to make environmental legislations and policies that are easy to implement and enforce. In Ado-Ekiti, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Alaja Saliat Abeke Robobo, a retired teacher and businesswoman who turns 90 June 7, 2020. In a statement, the president felicitates with the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of the woman who was known as a kind teacher in the course of her professional life. Born in Kano in 1930, Mama Robobo, who is the mother of the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabere Erewa, schooled in Lagos and later taught in Kano, Lagos, and Jos, where she impacted positively on the lives of students who passed through her tutelage. Mama Rebobo was described as a devout member of Ansaruddin Ladies Society and a patriotic Nigerian. This is Weekend File on the NTA, and our focus tonight is on homegrown solution or solutions for the fight against COVID-19. Tonight, we'll be talking to Zainab Judith Sharif of the Federal Ministry of Health. And reports from our correspondents will set the mood for the conversation, and that's next.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
We're in a fight to protect everything that matters to us. It's a fight to build, share, celebrate, and soar once more. It's a fight to win back our world. So let's fight it the way we have for generations. Let's practice healthy habits. Let's protect our hands, our homes, and our loved ones within them. Because if we do, together, we will win. Dettol, protect what's worth fighting for.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 22 55 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
A united Nigeria, strong in the fight against COVID-19, to bring a voice of hope, to join hands to bring an end to this pandemic.
Kandidiko hafiasi akwadara n'otu aka ka ndị nwere ikike ịhụ maka ahụike si dịkwa nkwadebe maka ọgụ a.
Ní ayé àtijọ́, a farapamọ́ lábẹ́ àpáta Olúmọ, a sì borí ogun náà. Àkókò tó láti farapamọ́ sínú ilé.
Mu ci gaba da kaɗaita juna, kuma mu kiyaye wuraren da akwai cunkoson mutane.
Womere ya mebogja wohora bowe kokekokyo wojeseri sanitizer wohora bowe.
Fulbe ballen ko emeden kauten judne kaben dun nyaw coronavirus. Daroden e wuro ballen gomnati ballen ko emeden dun nyaw dun waray dun dillay.
One Nigeria, different languages, and we shall surely prevail.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities in partnership with Nigerian Television Authority. You can't beat the rich.
Thank you for staying with us. We begin this segment from Enugu, where Comfort IM reports that some health experts are advocating the use of regulated herbal medicine in treatment of ailments.
The earliest form of healing substances had been herbal medicines, but with the advent of civilization, which led to better scientific understanding of diseases and medications, orthodox medicines become the main and well-recognized products for the management of diseases in modern health system. However, orthodox medicines were rated higher than herbal medicines in terms of affordability, packaging, availability, and side effects. As a result, traditionally, the use of herbal and plant in recent times became common, as it is believed to be a cultural heritage in their various names of identification following the efficacy. Experts in Enugu maintained that although many herbal or dietary supplements and some prescriptions drugs come from natural sources, it may be a safer or better options for the treatment of diseases, hence the need to go back to the roots as an alternative way.
Whether we like it or not, the final solution for COVID-19 will finally be on plants. We're not about just using herbs. We're not about using plants. There is no science. Do you know that in one particular plant, you can have up to 100 phytochemicals, saponins, flavonoids, alkaloids? They are there.
We must approach from the orthodox and traditional way if we must win this war.
On the other hand, religious leaders in Enugu hold the firm belief that with God, all things are possible, saying he has the power to cure all diseases, and therefore suggested a one-day emergency national prayer as an alternative way forward to COVID-19.
We have had other measures being put up. Let's try this measure. Give a national prayer call. All religions to pray and call upon God. Let all the state governors declare an emergency prayer day and see if something will not happen about this virus in our nation, Nigeria.
The consensus opinion of the people is that while researchers are studying new drugs that are already approved for other health conditions as a possible treatment for COVID-19, the best way to prevent infection is to avoid exposure to the virus with the enforcement on total compliance with the laid down precautionary measures by NCDC. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NTA News.
Well, let's take you to Kano, where Fatima Sanusi Karaye had an encounter with COVID-19 survivor, and the experience was quite informing.
Everywhere, every fold of my hair, body would be excreting sweat.
Indeed, novel coronavirus is real and ravaging lives around the globe. Ali Bukar was there. He felt it. He lived it. Since the declaration of novel coronavirus as public health emergency of international concern on January 30, 2020, people around the world have been struggling to come up with alternative ways of managing the virus since it has no known cure, no vaccine. While some people are seeking alternative remedies to prevent or treat the virus, such as herbal therapies, there are no scientific evidence that these purported remedies can prevent or cure it. Ali Bukar, who almost lost his life, narrated how he was so desperate for a cure.
The sore throat, believe me, continued. And if I swallow anything, I would think it's a soup that is going down inside. 1, 2, I was so dehydrated that I could take 10 bottles of water. But if you do, if the last drop went down, you feel as if you have never drank any water in your life.
Said he took a pot full of garlic, onions, ginger, and lemon, but to no avail.
Kano State, which is also hit by the virus, like other cities around the world, is evolving ways of managing the contagious disease through various methods, such as fumigating public places like markets, worship places, hospitals, major roads, among others. The state government has also distributed 1 million face masks to the populace, making wearing face masks compulsory in public.
We started with the big companies, but in order to get to the grassroots, we must involve the neighborhood tailors.
For Madan Ali, who was among the lucky survivors of COVID-19, he said the only alternative of preventing or managing COVID-19 is by abiding by health experts' advice. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
And now let's welcome our guests tonight, and that's Zainab Ujudud Sharif, Head Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Federal Ministry of Health. You're welcome to the program.
You know, it's always a pleasure to be with you, Kirian.
All right. We've been on this for a while now.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what is the situation? We understand that the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 had earlier requested Nigerians who had claims that they have a cure to the virus, or those who are still doing research, to come up with what they have for further verification and possible validation. So tell us more about that.
I want to really congratulate Nigerians, especially the traditional medicine practitioners, when the marching order was given that if you know you have any medications that can be used in the management of COVID, you can present it to the Ministry of Health and it comes to the department. The minister directed all the submissions, applications should be come to the department for further necessary action and evaluation. As far as we are concerned, technically we received 19, at the first batch we had 19 submissions from different practitioners, 19. And then we evaluated those submissions because it's important we evaluate so that we now pass it on to relevant agency. We have NIPRID is there, we have NAFDAC is there, we have NEMA in Lagos. And then the Honorable Minister of State had a conference with all the 19 practitioners who submitted different products in a bid to confirm their submission and in a bid to really get from them the necessary procedures they use in making those medications. And they all made their submissions, and they were very delighted that this is the first time really the Ministry of Health is having a direct chat with these practitioners who have submitted their products. And then for now, the ministry has commenced the process of further evaluation of these products. I want to really say that I'm gladdened as the director in charge of that department, because it really shows that Nigerians are intelligent. It really shows we have a lot of people there who have the knowledge of medicinal plants. All they need is encouragement. And we need a strong political will. If we do that, Kira, you must realize that no drug has ever come out of Africa. I think that should worry us as Africans, and that should worry us as Nigerians, especially when we are blessed with over 8,000 species of medicinal plants. Even the Niprisan we used to talk about, when it was evaluated in US, it was classified as a nutritional supplement. It was not classified as a drug, a pharmaceutical drug.
Was it efficacious?
Of course it was, following the clinical trials. So you'd wonder why they would not classify it as a drug. That shows that Africans should begin to look inwards and have their own procedures and protocols.
Let me take you back to the 19 submissions you talked about.
Yes.
It's over a week now.
Yes.
How long should it take under normal circumstances to come up with a result?
That's a very good question, because I know Nigerians are eager. One, there are scientific procedures and protocols that are fully established. And very importantly, we must consider the safety of our Nigerians. However, let me give the insight and try to convince Nigerians that WHO has said even any medication that you have used in your community for over 200 years should be considered safe. However, the regulatory procedures must be followed. NAFDAC is doing a lot, trying to fast-track these procedures, and the basic tests must be done. The basic tests to confirm safety. And once safety is first confirmed, the process of listing is done. In listing, what we have proposed from the Ministry of Health is that once your product is safe and is listed, we can now use it for clinical trials on the COVID patients who so desire. If I've listed this product, you are a COVID patient, you must willingly wanting to try. That is what we call practical clinical trials. And I know within the very shortest time, that process will commence.
What time are we talking about, Ajay? I mean, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month?
Technically speaking, you know, there are various projects. I wouldn't want to say specifically because that is not my role. That is the role of NAFDAC. NAFDAC will be in a better position to tell you how long and how this process can be done. But I know from the discussions we had in the group meeting, at least within the next 2 to 3 weeks, this process can be confirmed for a product.
All right, thank you, Ajay. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll be concluding this conversation, how Tiki and other issues bordering on the alternative to whatever is orthodox about COVID-19, which of course we have not had a very good result. All right, you're watching Weekend File. We'll take a short break now. We will come back in just a moment.
Mama, Uncle Kim just called me. His wife just gave birth. Hey! If you not be God, though, now who go do am? Now who go do am? Hey, I thank God. Boy or girl?
I was too excited to ask. Let me get my phone and call him. Mama, it's a... Mama, what's wrong?
So, I no fit see my grandpikin now, as dem do obodo oyibo.
Mama, I have a surprise that will cheer you up.
Introducing Sunday Data Plan. Enjoy Sunday browsing. 200 Naira gets you a whopping 1.25 gigabytes. Unlimited. 25th February 2020. Nigeria. It is real. It is a nightmare. It is killing people all over the world. It is COVID-19. Compliance with the various states in Nigeria, the current measures will flatten the curves.
Shutting down is not an act of wickedness, but an act to save lives. Stay home, stay safe. Observe social distance. Always put on a face mask while leaving your house. Make sure you are on a tricycle alone. Cars and buses cannot carry more than half their passengers. Always remember to wash your hands. Together, we will defeat COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities.
Now believe this Koroti. You fit touch black man. If you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. No, now wash your hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
You're welcome back. At this point, let's join Nosa Osula in Lagos to look at the efforts put in place by health workers who are at the front line of the battle.
Around the world, persons whose duties bring them in close and frequent contact with members of the public have suffered disproportionately from COVID-19. The situation is much the same in the country, as many frontline workers have tested positive to the virus. During this crisis, this workforce has been the most critical. They have abandoned any fear of self and family and taken on the role of saving the country.
We have admitted over 300 patients. This is the 9th week that we started, and we have discharged more than 207 patients.
Dr. Yewande Oshodi is one of such healthcare workers. She is a consultant psychiatrist in the Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Yewande gave us an insight on how the battle has been from the front lines so far.
We've also had individuals who during isolation really became disruptive and very aggressive and had to be medicated, with medications that would calm and take care of those situations.
Dr. Johanna Katsi, a consultant infectious disease physician with the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, admitted that he felt good that frontline health workers are recognized and celebrated. He promised to maintain unwavering commitment in providing care for patients with COVID-19.
Our endpoints, our targets here are pretty simple. The first one is to make sure that people who come in very sick and that do not lose their lives but get better and go home.
With about 900 patients with COVID-19 discharged so far in Lagos State, the frontline workers expressed optimism that the battle against the disease is gradually being won.
It's still an ongoing process. We can say we've learned our lessons.
The battle is being won. The morbidity rate that we have is very, very low.
They advised residents to continue to obey government's COVID-19 directives to stem the spread of the virus. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
All right, we're back again. I'm still with Zainab Bujudu Sheriff, the Director, Traditional, Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Federal Ministry of Health. Now, we are looking forward to having
home remedy.
A home remedy,
to
coronavirus. Exactly. Yeah. Just as we had of the Madagascar scenario, where they have promoted what they have, especially in Africa, and what have you. Assuming we come up with something, are we not looking at a situation where even the WHO or any other world organization would not really give ours a push? Because I am believing that in no distant time something must come out of Nigeria.
Really really, Kirian, unusual problems need unusual solutions. There are instances you need to take a drastic action. There is an outside adage that says the zapi ake dukan karpi, is when the iron is very hot that you melt it. I would believe that it is a lesson for every country to look inwards and take its own decision, irrespective of WHO or not. You can have your own base homegrown solutions. I want to recall that Professor Lambo, one of the great minister of health we had, says that there has to be protocols established to be able to take care of our people first nationally, then look at it in terms of ECOWAS and then maybe Africa. Yes, WHO is there. We recognize the role of WHO, but WHO cannot detect the internal solutions that we can take. What we need our leaders, we need our experts, we need our professors of researchers who are working. You cannot tell me that all the research we have been doing for many years cannot be practicalized. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, Kirian. That is why Madagascar went ahead. What they need to understand is that the product of Madagascar is called a herbal remedy. That means I believe Madagascar is doing the clinical trials on its people. And one of the main ingredients of Madagascar is Artemisia annua. You may wish to know that it has been domesticated in Nigeria for the past, as far back as 2008. 2 years trials were carried out in this country. The Chinese, who has the indigenous plant, the Artemisia annua, which is indigenous to China, they said it cannot grow in Africa. But you see it grew in Madagascar. And I want to tell you, in Nigeria, it grew so well that the content of artemisinin was much higher. So what we need is to pick it up from where we stopped. If for nothing, beyond post-COVID, we always tell you there's what we call medicine security. Nigeria has no medicine security because we don't have any raw materials. But with the coming of picking up the Artemisia annua, apart from the use, we can also have it as a first raw material for the management of ACTs, that is malaria. So that will make us have a cash crop that is a pharmaceutical product that can bring out a pharmaceutical active pharmaceutical ingredient that our local manufacturers of over 120 companies can be able to use to manufacture raw material. And furthermore, we have the potential to export these raw materials. We are blessed with arable land. What do you see? Don't look at the health benefits also. You need to look at the economic benefits. Nigeria is blessed with these medicinal plants that will provide the health benefits for our people, which will clearly go in line with the traditional medicine policy of integrating traditional medicine into the healthcare.
Where can we find the plants we're talking about? You know, you're well, so
rooted in Artemisia annua.
Exactly.
We have a book on Artemisia annua.
All right.
The plant is grown well. Like I said, the species Artemisia annua is the species from China, but we have the local species in Nigeria called Artemisia absenthin, which we call commonly Tezargadi. That has been an indigenous medicine that has been used for over 200 years. Artemisia species is not strange to Nigeria. But the political will, we need to be able to take this and support research. You know, the DG of NIPRID has always been clamoring, support research, support research. We need now, with what we have seen in COVID-19, we need to pump funds into research. But like I always say, the research must be product-oriented. We want to see the end product.
End of it.
You must call it a short-term research or a medium-term research, but we need to see something out.
Now, before we run out of time, you know, you are aware of the drugs. But of course, you told us about that. It's about 13 submissions, 19 submissions so far, right?
Yes.
Are you hopeful that something positive is going to come out from these 19?
The world is changing. Africa is changing. The structure of medicine is dynamic, is changing generally. It is a window of opportunity for Africans to go into it and bring their own. And I believe with what we are seeing and the submission from practitioners, some are even submitting more. I know and I pray with the political will and also with the support, of course, our able ministers, both the Honorable Minister of Health and the Honorable Minister of State, are really pushing this cause. They believe it's an agenda they must achieve. This is a legacy that could come on board. For the first time, local medications are now integrated, should be integrated into the public health, so that into the public institutions, whereby if you go to any public hospital, if I want orthodox, can I have orthodox? If I want alternative or traditional, I can have it. We are looking forward to that. That is the purpose of traditional medicine, and that is the purpose of herbal pharmacopoeia, and that is the purpose of drug discovery and herbal medicines.
Yes, Bujudu Sharif, it's always a pleasure having you. I'll talk on TV. You seem to know.
You know, you are my friend now. I know you are passionate about science and technology.
Exactly, and yes. I'm happy hearing you talk, in that direction. Thank you. I've been hosting the ever vibrant Zainab Bujudu Sharif, Head Traditional, Complementary, and the Alternative Medicine Federal Ministry of Health. Thank you again for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. You're still watching Weekend File, and we now go to sports.
Hoffenheim held Homers Fortuna Düsseldorf to a 2-2 draw after 90 minutes of action in the German Bundesliga Week 30 game. That also saw Hoffenheim player Habner red-carded.
Line for Scope. They give you some support in the middle. That's a good at arriving move. Has Hano! And side puts it into the bottom corner. Here comes Hennings. Goes the other side and sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Düsseldorf have leveled things up.
Fortuna Düsseldorf, I think the pressure will even be coming from Werder Bremen because they have a game to play.
It just shows that it gets better. Football is getting better by the day. It's not about you being at home and your home is a fortress. Now most homes are no more fortresses.
In other results, Bayer Leverkusen were beaten at home 2-4 by table toppers Bayern Munich. Frankfurt lost 0-2 at home. RB Leipzig and Paderborn finished 1-1. Live transmission of the German Bundesliga continues next Saturday on the NTA. Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
All right, now let's take a commercial break. We'll be back shortly.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
On a rather sad note, remains of late Alaja Ariata Adelju Smith, wife of the chairman, Police Service Commission, have been committed to Mother Earth in Lagos. Bolade Salame reports that the burial was conducted adherent to safety measures against COVID-19.
The arrival of the corpse led to the commencement of the burial rite of late Alaja Adiat Smith, with observance of 2 rakat prayers carried out in compliance with social distancing. The body thereafter proceeded to where she was committed to Mother Earth in the presence of her husband, Mr. Smith, daughter, and few family members.
Unfortunately, she has gone. We're going to miss her. There's nothing we can do. We're going to miss her. I just pray our role, somebody will be able to fill that role. Otherwise, there's going to be a big vacuum.
Late Alaja Adiat Smith, age 69, was survived by her husband, 2 children, and grandchildren. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And that concludes Weekend File for today. We thank you for watching and hope to see you again next week. It's good night.
An amazing
Sabe, daqui a pouco, é onde a gente sabe que os contenedores da luta